How great are his signs, and how mighty are his wonders. His kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and his dominion is from generation to generation. I, Nebuchadnezzar, was at rest in my house and flourishing in my palace. I saw a dream which made me afraid, and the thought upon my bed and the vision of my head troubled me. Therefore I made a decree to bring all the wise men of Babylon before me, that they might make known unto me the interpretation of the dream. Then came in the magicians, the astrologers, the Chaldeans, and the soothsayers, and told the dream before them, but they did not make known unto me the interpretation thereof. But at the last, Daniel came in before me, whose name was Belteshazzar, according to the name of my God, and whom is the spirit of the holy gods. And before him I told the dream, saying, I, Belteshazzar, master of the magicians, because I know not the spirit of the holy God is in thee, and no secret troubled thee. Tell me the vision of my dream that I have seen, and the interpretation thereof. And thus were the visions of my head in my bed. I saw, and behold, a tree in the midst of the earth, and the height thereof was great. The tree grew and was strong, and the height thereof reached into the heavens, and the sight thereof of the ends of all the earth. The leaves thereof were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and in it was meat for all. And the beasts of the fields had shadow under it, and the fowls of the heaven dwelled in the vaults thereof, and all flesh was fed of it. I saw in the vision of my head upon my bed, and behold, a watcher, and an holy one came down from heaven. He cried aloud and said thus, Hew down the tree, and cut off his branches, shake off his leaves, and scatter his fruit. Let the beasts get away from under it, and the fowls from his branches. Nevertheless, leave the stump of his roots in the earth, even with a band of iron and brass, in the tender grass of the field, and let it be wet with the dew of heaven, and let his portion be with the beast in the grass of the earth. And let his heart be changed from man's, and let a beast heart be given unto him. And let 7 times pass over him. Now this matter is by decree of the watchers, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and set it up over it the basset of men, or the basin of men. This dream I, King Nebuchadnezzar, have seen. Now thou, O Belteshazzar, declare the interpretation thereof, for as much as all the wise men of my kingdom are not able to make known unto me the interpretation, but thou art able, for the spirit of the holy gods is in thee. He knew that. Yeah. Then Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar, was anointed for 1 hour, and his thoughts troubled him. The king spake and said, Belteshazzar, let not the dream or the interpretation trouble thee. Belteshazzar answered and said, O my lord, the dream be to them that hate thee, and the interpretation thereof to thine enemies. The tree that thou sawest, which grew and was strong, whose heights reached into the heavens, and the sight thereof to all the earth, whose leaves were fair, and the fruit thereof much, and in it was meat for all, under which the beasts of the field dwelled, and upon all whose branches the fowls of the heaven had their habitation. It is thou, O king, that art grown and become strong, for thy greatness is grown, and thy reacheth into heaven, or under heaven, and thy dominion to the ends of the earth. And whereas the king saw a watcher and a holy one coming down from heaven, and saying, hew the tree down and destroy it, yet leave the stump of the roots thereof in the earth, even with a band of iron, and even with a band of brass, and the tender grass of the field, and let it be wet with the dew of heaven, and let the portion be with the beasts of the field, till 7 times pass over him. This is the interpretation, O king, and this is the decree of the Most High, which is come upon my Lord the king, that they shall drive thee from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field, and they shall make thee to eat grass as oxen, and they shall wet thee with the dew of heaven, and 7 times shall pass over thee, till thou know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will. Now, we're not going to finish the rest of that. Y'all can read the rest of that when you get home. I just want to give you an impression of what really happened here. Now, Nebuchadnezzar had this dream, and he was high and lifted up. And many times God put us up for a purpose. And sometimes he causes us to come down for a purpose. God blesses us for a purpose. And there's a purpose in taking the blessings from us. It's not that God's will for us to be sick or in poverty or downtrodden, but there is a plan in God's universe, and his plan must be fulfilled. Are y'all here? Amen. Now, getting to the meat of this, back in those days they had astrologers, they had magicians, and they had soothsayers, and they had the Chaldeans, and all these people were supposed to be so learned in the art of life, and the stars, and the planets. And all this prevailed in time past. But something happened. Years ago, I would say hundreds of years ago, this truth of astrology and astronomy, which Daniel, he was the master of all of these arts. And yet he didn't mainly rely on the stars. He had an input with the Creator himself. Therefore, he not only understood the stars and the planets and the galaxies, he understood nature itself. And therefore, he was able to interpret Nebuchadnezzar's dream that he had. Now, if those of you tonight have your From the Broader Fowl, I want to go to the Broader Fowls. Got to be ready. The Broader Fowls. Then after that, we're going to go to the Red Book. And then I brought another book here to show you. This is what they kept from us. The only astrology book you'll ever need. This is everything you need to know about you. And this book is powerful, and it talks about the houses or mansions in my Father's house.
Well, now watch it.
In my Father's house there are many mansions. As a matter of fact, it's 12.
12.
And I'm going to tell you about the 12, an interpretation of each house or each mansion in you. Now you need to get this book.
Yeah.
And this book talks about your sexuality, your social life, your political life. Everything there is in your life is governed by the stars, the moon, and the planets, and the universe. And I'm going to read from this book in a little bit, but let me go to the Broader Fowls right quick.
Break it down, pal.
One of these nights, I'm going to bring all my books and just lay them out here and just go through it. Explain a lot of things to you. Are y'all here? Now, Dick Gregory said it is best when he stated, information is power. Education is not power. Money is not power. Information is power. Remember that, y'all. Information is power. And you notice when I prayed, I said this is a house of information.
Amen.
Not only a house of prayer, but this is a house of information. So if you're seeking information, you're in the right house.
Come on now.
You're in the right place. So I'm going to give you some information tonight.
Yes, sir.
All right, let me go quickly here, because I got a lot to cover here, and I want to try to get out of here before 9 o'clock. We're on page XIV. These are Roman numerals. So if you add up the X is a 10, the I is 5, and 1, and the V is a 5. These are Roman numerals there. All right. This is the introduction page. Second page for the introduction. Now, it is only through the acquisition of information that a group of people can develop the ability to control their destiny. How many want to control your own destiny?
Yep.
I'm sure you're tired of white folk controlling your destiny. I'm sure you're tired of other people controlling your destiny. It's time for us to control our own destiny.
That's right.
And we need information to do that.
That's right.
Hello? We got computers today, and the internet is called information highway, and ain't no excuse to be ignorant today, because everything you want to know or everything you think you want to know is on there. And you can get it just at the push of a button. The move of a little mouse. Y'all ain't here. Now, the current conditions that plague the African American community are a manifestation of pervading sense of powerlessness, brought about by misinformation. And this is why we're in our condition today, because we've been misinformed about a lot of things, especially spiritual and religious things. We've been misinformed. But even under these dire circumstances, a unique form of karma is evolving. Everything in our world is based on the law of karma. What goes around comes around. Hello? Which is the universal principle of the cause and effect. For every action, there's a reaction. The popular media campaign promoting beautiful babies right from the start addressed the relationship between prenatal care and the birth defect. This is karma. This is cause and effect. The same karmic principle applies in relationship to knowledge and information. Despite all evidence to the contrary, we are standing on the threshold of a reessence of African American consciousness. And the world knows this. This mental rebirth is being spearheaded by the efforts of numerous men and women who are rescuing and reconstructing our African history. And y'all know I'm doing it here.
Yes, sir.
This is one church in Dallas that you ain't gonna find a lot of preachers speaking on what I'm speaking. So we are blessed to have a church with these doors open that you can come in and get knowledge, you can get information, you can get insight, you can get your spirituality renewed. Whatever you need is here.
Amen.
Now imagine, we are being shown a new version of history which documents advanced African culture and civilization, which preceded slavery by thousands of years now.
Well,
We are now introduced to irrefutable evidence that brings to light the African origin of mankind, the development of the concept of time, the first solar calendar, of 365 and 1/4 day, medicine, law, algebra, agriculture, engineering, religion, and so much more. Imagine the effects this new information will have on the minds of the school children when they learn that Hippocrates is not the father of medicine. This white boy, he's not the father of medicine. What? Imagine the effect it's going to be on the black child's mind when he find out that this cracker had lied.
yes, sir.
And said Hippocrates was the father of medicine,
Come on.
which is a lie.
A lie.
Y'all ain't here.
Come on, man.
And that Christopher the Columbus,
The palm.
his name is really Christopher Cologne. Instead of Christopher Columbus, he did not prove that the world was round, and that conceptually it's impossible to discover a land when there are people already living there. These are indeed important times we're living in, y'all. Now, it is only through the positive portrayal of the African contribution to the world civilization that people, especially African Americans, will begin to see the worth of African people and the necessity of an Afrocentric worldview. And that's what we have here. It is a historical fact that Africans were the first people on the planet that they developed the early civilizations, and that has been a concerted effort to deny the world of these great truths. We're bringing it out here.
Amen.
Now, the lack of Afrocentric worldview in my early education left me mentally malnourished. The completion of my formal education signed the beginning of a pursuit of seemingly unrelated fields of study, which have tremendously influenced my concept of myself, my people, and the world which I live. So the more you go to school, the more you're miseducated, the more you're ignorized and de-Africanized and disenfranchised. Because they're going to teach you concepts of white people.
That's right.
They're going to teach you African concepts. They're going to teach you concepts about them, not yourself. And then he said, my training as an artist has cultivated within me the ability to perceive information through a profound understanding of symbolic imagery and its effect on the subconscious mind. You know, wonder why I got these up here? These things play an effect on your subconscious mind.
Amen.
This is Tutankhamun. This is a boy king. When they unearthed the tomb, they found a wealth of treasure, gold, silver, all type of precious things. And this is an ark which they used to embrace before the cross came along. This represents life. The cross represents death. So all these symbols and all the pictures on the wall, these are symbolic symbols that plays on your subconscious mind and help you to get back to that African consciousness. Are y'all still here? Now, my training as an artist cultivated me an ability to perceive information through the profound understanding and symbolic imagery and the effect on my subconscious mind. An Afrocentric view of world history has allowed me to look at myself in America from a totally different perspective. And to combine efforts of these two methods of knowing or earth-shattering allowed me to share an Afrocentric mythological view of this process. Look at the back of your dollar bill. You'll see firsthand the differences between an Afrocentric worldview and a Eurocentric view. The symbol on the currency represents the ideology of the founding fathers and the source of their ideology. Let me get a dollar. See if I got a dollar.
White folks are thieves.
On the back of your dollar. Now Sharon Bisdee, keeper of the seal for the security or Secretary of State, describes the front of the seal featuring a bold eagle. Its wings are outstretched, representing dignity, freedom, strength, and vision. Above the eagle are 13 stars, known as the constellations. And when I say constellations, we're going right back to the zodiac.
Talk about
Get that down.
teach.
We're talking about the zodiac when we talk about constellations, which significantly signify that the United States has taken its place among the nations of the world. On the eagle's breast is the shield.
Yes, it is.
The bar at the top of the shield represents Congress. See that bar at the top of the shield? That represents Congress now. The 13 stripes below the bar represent the 13 original colonies supporting the Congress. Are y'all still with me? Now the eagle carries in its beak a ribbon that displays in Latin phrase, e pluribus unum, which means out of many, one. This signifies that the 13 colonies have become one nation. In its right talon, the eagle grabs an olive branch bearing 13 leaves representing peace. There ain't no peace in America. No, that's a lie. Now the left talon holds 13 arrows, symbolizing war. So they give you a choice. You can have war or peace, but we're going to have war. And America has been savaged with war. and entrenched with war from its conception in 1776, when they wrote the Declaration of Independence. Now, on the left side of the dollar bill is the reverse of the Great Seal. It features a pyramid comprised of 13 courses of stone, which represent the 13 original colonies, and the eye of God encased in a pyramid. You see the eye of God up there on that pyramid? That's the eye of our God on the top of the pyramid. According to Bisdi, the unfinished pyramid symbolized strength and foundation for future growth. Above the pyramid, in the glory burst, is an eye inside a triangle, which represents the many interventions of providence in favor of the American cause. Above the eye is the Latin phrase, "Aut contempt," which means that he has favored our undertaking. Who has favored your undertaking? Showing my God. Now, at the bottom of the pyramid are the Roman numerals for 1776. Now, America's birth date was July the 4th, 1776. Now, I'm going to be able to talk more to you about that significant date in the very near future, but not now. And that date, the Declaration of Independence, under that, the Latin words "nomus ordo seclorum," which were suggested by Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, and Thomas Jefferson, meaning a new order of the ages. New world order. New world order. From an Afrocentric to a Eurocentric. They changed the symbols. Now, in front of the Great Seal, designed by Charles Thompson, Secretary of Congress, the reverse was designed by William Barton, a specialist in heraldry, and on June the 20th, 1782, the emblem was adopted by the Act of Congress and has long been suggested that the soul of America is reflected in the Great Seal. In 1822, a Frenchman named Jean Chapelain deciphered the Rosetta Stone and revealed the mysteries of the Egyptian hieroglyphics, which paved the way for the European interpretation of ancient African history, the penetration of African history. Today, an Afrocentric decipherment of the Great Seal will also shed new light on the establishment of the United States of America and its relationship with African people. It is a known fact that the founding fathers were Freemasons who studied astrology and other ancient metaphysical sciences. Of the men who signed the Declaration of Independence, 51 were Masons. 51 were Masons, as were all of the generals of the Revolutionary War. In addition, 14 U.S. presidents have been acknowledged as belonging to Masonic organizations. All of the men involved in the creation of the Great Seal were practicing Masons. They knew something about astrology, but yet they're going to tell you, you need to leave that alone. You don't fool that astrology. That's of the devil. They want to put a seal over it. They want to put a veil over it. They don't want you to see or know the truth. Now, who sought to incorporate specific values into symbolism in the new nation. The link between Masonry and ancient Egyptian science and metaphysics have been proudly heralded by European Masons for centuries. So they talk about it in private. And they lift it up very high because this is where all their concepts come from their Messianic order, is from African Egyptian concepts. Are y'all here? Nowhere in this relationship more clearly defines in George G.M. James' book. How many got that book, Stolen Legacy? Got that book at home? That's a powerful book. Stolen Legacy. James documented the relationship between the Egyptian mystery schools and the European Mason lodges. See, they practice what they used to practice in the mystery schools in Egypt, in the Masons. White folk now.
Yes, sir.
See these buildings with these little emblems on them?
Lord.
And these lodges, you don't know what's going on there. You don't know it's a church or what. See, these are white boys in there. They talking about Egyptian cultures and Egyptian symbols and using astrology, and they're pinpointing their time in history
Rain snake out.
and what they're supposed to be doing.
Yes, sir.
Y'all ain't here.
Yes, sir.
Because see, they know their time is just about up.
Yes, sir.
They know through prophecy down through the Old Testament, they will prophesy that they wouldn't be here no more than 6,000 years ruling.
Come on now.
And their rule is just about up.
Yes,
and
sir.
through the African symbols and symbology, they find out that their time is just about up and they need to be doing something to secure themselves.
Yes, sir. Amen.
Now in this book here, it talks about airships and traveling to other constellations in the universe and setting up colonies on other planets and other universes. Y'all ain't here. See, we've done that before. Been there and done that. And now we're coming to this knowledge again that we used to do that. And as Sister Bagley read in the book, said, we've forgotten that we have forgotten. Now that's deep. Now it is something. We have forgotten that we've forgotten all this stuff we used to know. But all I'm doing is bringing back the memory stuff you already know. But it's just been stripped from your mind. It's been taken out of your culture and your language and your mentality. The things you used to do, you've forgotten that you forgot.
Amen.
Come on.
Now, have you ever told yourself something to try to remember? And you forgot that you told yourself to remember. Isn't that something? That's where we are. We've forgotten that who we are. And we got to remember again. And the only way you can remember, you got to go through this history. You got to talk about it. You got to bring these things out so African people can make a decision on their own who they are, where they come from, and what they should be doing right now. Hello? Now let me speed up. I got so much to talk about. I'm trying to close out. I'm trying to get out of here in the next few minutes. All y'all still here. Now, James documented the relationship between the Egyptian mystery school and the European Mason lodges. The word Mason, which means a child of the sun, is derived from the African term sons and daughters of the light and the children of the sun. The sun is symbolic of enlightenment. Therefore, these metaphors describe the people who had acquired knowledge and enlightenment. When viewed from this perspective, the significance of the Great Seal takes on a new meaning. The front of the Great Seal bears a striking resemblance of the African symbol of Horus, the hawk. You see that eagle?
Horus, huh?
Now you know, before they chose the eagle as a symbol, they were going to get the turkey. The turkey was going to be their symbol because that's what they are, turkeys. All y'all here. But I guess somebody must have went into the Afrocentric, libraries and said, look here, we can't choose the turkey now. We got to get something close to, perfect like the Egyptians. See, the Egyptians, their symbol was the hawk. So we got to get some almost symbol to the hawk that flies higher than the hawk. So they chose the eagle. So they chose the eagle. Now, in front of the Great Seal bears a striking resemblance of the African symbol of Horus, the hawk. The use of this symbol preceded the creation of the Great Seal by over 5,000 years. Now, if you look at this, you'll see that the eagle and Horus, this is an ancient symbol here, but all they did is chose an eagle, and they used the same concepts as the African Egyptians. See, in the African Egyptians, a hawk, it had a globe and had the orc in each talon here. But America chose to have arrows and olive branches. And olive branches supposed to mean peace, and that's supposed to mean war. And the shield represents the 13 colonies of the United Snakes of America.
Teach, Pastor.
Are y'all still here?
Yes, sir.
Now above the hawk is the sun, which is symbolic of power and knowledge. Horus is holding in both talons the shield, which is the African symbol of infinity. And above the